Serenity now. Serenity.
Jesus.
Wherever you are, that's where. What is it?
Wherever you
yeah.
go, that's... Oh, Che?
Yeah.
Wherever you go, there you are.
Wherever you go.
I was
there you
watching,
are.
I was like, oh, we should have cut back one more time. Anyway, it would have been funnier. Okay. I had some notes on myself.
Oh, good.
Watching.
Did you?
Yeah.
Let's
Just
hear
there
the
was like,
notes.
whoa, that cue came in a little bald.
I have questions.
All right.
Because Rachel doesn't remember anything about this season.
Well, I haven't watched season 4 anything in 15 years, but I'll save it for the thing. Last time my foot was really going. I got to watch that. I
Oh,
do
really?
this a lot. And then when you go wide, my foot's bouncing. I'm just like, I'm like this.
Bouncing around.
Yeah, I'm going to try to be calm.
Oh, boy.
Well,
So
great to be
welcome
here.
to the OC
Great to be here.
bitches.
So I have to turn this way. Okay. That's fine.
You don't have to look at that.
No, I like to see what's coming.
Oh, boy. He doesn't like any surprises, this one.
Nope.
You might recognize the voice heckling.
It's a new season. It is season
For Welcome to the OC Bitches.
for Welcome to the OC Bitches, season 4, episode 1.
Yeah.
The Avengers.
You guys are aware there is no season 5.
Oh,
This is the
So-
last season.
We could do like a podcast,
Season
fictional
5.
season 5.
Sure,
like a
write
scripted
it.
podcast.
I can read a
oh,
part.
we could actually
Yeah,
read
I
the
can
scenes.
read a part.
I could read a part.
I could do that.
Yeah,
It's not a bad idea. That's a lot of work.
it's a
Oh,
lot of work.
yeah.
Look at you're
Forward.
signing
I mean,
yourself out. You have
okay.
time.
A lot of, yeah, down.
Well, then let's start with the fact that, okay, so season 3 just ended and going into season 4, I think you've said this
Did
before.
we say Josh Schwartz is with
Oh, yeah,
us?
this is Josh Schwartz, the creator of the show.
With a sweatshirt
Yeah.
that I just
Chris
got.
McCaw sweatshirt.
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. Oh,
Thanks.
what's the sticker on it? Is there like a barcode I left on there? Sorry.
It says discount, dollar store.
Emporium.
Yeah, dollar store emporium. Anyway, okay.
So going into the 4th season, Peter Liguori, who was the head of Fox, picked us up for 16 episodes. And what was that like?
Well,
Or how did that process go? Or any memories from
Any
that?
tidbits?
I mean, we definitely went to some dramatic lengths at the end of season 3 for a variety of reasons in an effort to boost ratings and attention and relevance. And I think we also had some creative reasons for doing it as well. Personal, it was a big complicated stew of stuff that went into the way season 3 ended.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think people always have like questions.
They always have questions, and it's complicated, and it's a lot to unpack, which I refuse to talk about here. But anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
We need answers.
what I will say is, as soon as that episode aired at the end of season 3, the response online from fans,
Mm-hmm.
Tumblr was really big in 2000 and whatever year it was, 6. I think immediately it was like, oh God, what have we done?
Really?
That people were so upset, and a vocal majority of the fans who were not the kind of people to go on message boards at the time, were not television critics, were just people who watched the show, young girls who watched the show, college kids, whatever it was, high school, junior high. And immediately I remember going online that night that the episode aired and going, oh shit,
Really?
people are having a response to this
Yeah.
that it was more emotional, more upset in a way that shook me, to be honest. That being said, in a kind of just from a place of keeping the show alive and sustaining the show, a lot of people tuned in for that episode. There was a lot of response to that episode. And there was a feeling like, well, we did this thing and now we are committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to see it through. And there was a lot of criticism about season 3, some of it very fair, that we had let some of the melodrama kind of overtake the show. Some of the humor had gone away. We had overinvested in characters that the audience wasn't as invested in, that weren't our main character. There was a lot of and so we really wanted to use season 4 as a reset.
Mm.
And to get back to some of the humor, some of the self-awareness, some of the fun, and really reinvesting in the core relationships and the core characters of the show.
Right.
So we were committed to this thing, however uneasy we felt about it after the fact, and we were really going to see it through. And I do think that season 4 was a real creative rebirth for the show. And I think I'm really proud of season 4. I think it was really fun. I think some of the new characters that we introduced, like Che really worked. Characters like Taylor Townsend, we really invested in the show. Caitlin, and then also gave all you guys a real opportunity and bigger story, and not bigger stories, but just really recentered the show and refocused the show. So 16 episodes was less, especially coming off of doing 27.
But nowadays, 16 is still a lot.
16 would be double. Be double what
Right.
that's 2 seasons of a streaming show. So, we had done 27, we had done 25 multiple times. So like 16, it felt like a lack of confidence in the show moving forward, but it allowed us to be more focused in our storytelling. And obviously, you're not kind of vamping. It's hard to come up with 27 episodes of story, as we've talked about. So it was hard. It was tricky. But I do think that out of all of that came a really rewarding and satisfying season.
Let me ask you this. So there's been talk that, was it a potential way to send Marissa off with Jimmy to have it open where she could come back, and Marissa was the one that said, no, I want to die?
No, it wasn't presented as a choice per se. It was presented as this is where we're going.
And then once it was going to happen, I thought she was saying,
or maybe she just I want like a really big send off.
And she committed, I mean, she committed to it for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
it's hard to watch.
And saw it through for the whole, she knew it was coming prior, obviously shooting that episode, and was a real professional about seeing it through.
Yeah.
right. Some of the younger, Ben and Adam and Misha were talking about getting onto different parts of their career, but we couldn't. Do
And Rachel, why are we leaving Rachel out of this? She was as big a diva as the rest of them.
Hey, I was not, but I was actually working simultaneously during season 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
That's
you
a funny
can't
story.
do the show without the
That's
boys.
a funny story.
The core of the show was always fundamentally
The brothers.
the brothers and the father-son dynamic. I mean, that was obviously what we really kind of built the show around initially. And it felt like as much as Ben and Adam may have wanted to move on to other things at that time, there was no doing the show without them.
Right.
Right. What was the funny story about me?
Let's just
More
enough about Ben and
me.
Adam. Make more about Rachel.
Yeah. This whole show's about them. Let's just pivot.
So Doug Lyman directed the first 2 episodes of the show, as we've talked about. And Simon Kinberg, who we've also talked about, I believe, to some extent, because they were prepping Mr. and Mrs. Smith while we were shooting the pilot of the OC. And then Simon and I became, while we were nemesis while that was happening, because we were competing for Doug's attention. It wasn't much of a competition. He was clearly much more interested in directing, was much more excited about directing Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Simon reached out about Rachel's availability for a movie called Jumper that Doug Lyman was directing. I actually think initially they started with Brody for
the main part,
for the
dude?
but that was more of a commitment than we could possibly let him out for. I don't even know
I
how
like this story.
I don't
so
even know how
far.
Adam felt about it. Anyway, but the love interest role was less involved. I guess involved less shooting days than necessarily the lead character did. And so they reached out about Rachel to do it. And we said, well, we'll figure it out. We'll work it out. And I remember saying to Simon, and I did say this to you, although I'm sure you have no memory of it. They were like, it's only for 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it is, And I was like, knowing Doug, having just worked with him a little bit, I said, you will be shooting this movie long after the OC has gone off the air.
I'm still shooting it.
Yeah. So, and it went on for a year. It was
Year and a half?
2
I think
years
I
shoot.
shot that for a
Yeah.
year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was right.
But you guys did let me. It was
We did.
very
We
nice.
let
I
figure
don't
it out.
like this version of the story where it was they really wanted Brody and they're like, well, there's less days, so let's get Bilson.
Well, I mean, 2 different parts.
Were they?
Yes. One is the guy
I'm
who's
just
jumping.
kidding.
Okay.
One's
Right.
the guy.
Why is the guy's the jumper? He's jumping. But and we always try to accommodate people's schedules to the best of our abilities and let people go out and do things while we were
I will say
shooting.
you and Stephanie and Bob at the time,
Yeah.
you have a reputation for being the most accommodating, nicest, reasonable
We tried.
showrunners.
We always tried to make it work. And we've tried to do that on all of our shows when there's opportunity
Yeah,
for
that's what I
actors. You
mean.
want to create, especially on a long running show,
Right.
Right.
But
You were so great to all of the people on Gossip Girl as well.
we were.
I know.
We gave them a lot of opportunity to go do other stuff while
Just
they were
giving you
shooting.
credit, man.
Thanks.
I even
Take it.
did an episode of CSI that was our direct competition at the same time. So I was on at the same
Yes, I
time,
remember
2
that.
different networks.
Who are you playing? Like Lady,
Like a
Lady
dominatrix
Heather.
or
Lady
something?
Heather.
The dominatrix, yeah.
Lady Heather.
But I was like, I hope this isn't a problem.
Yeah.
Because at first, actually, when they came to me, Fox said, no, you can't have her. And I said, it's not up to them. It's just a guest role. It's up to the line producer. It's up to Josh. And sure enough, because I ran into the producer at CSI and I said, why don't you just talk to Bob or whoever?
Yeah, Bob. Man.
And you guys let me out to do
Yeah.
it. So
They're very
There you go.
nice.
So there
Very
you go.
nice.
We try to accommodate. So anyway, so we went into season 4, creative hard reset. Let's just really
Mhm.
make it fun, because what if this is our last season? And it's felt like it, and that's where the table
Did you
was
kind
set.
of know at the beginning that it would be the last?
I mean, the overwhelming evidence was that mounting that way. I will say there was a point where we were like, because you start making the show before it airs. And we had made like 4 or 5 episodes of season 4. And I was like, I don't know. This feels really good. This feels like the show
Maybe
again
we
to
could get
me.
it back.
Yeah, maybe we'll get it back. And then when the show premiered, the ratings were, off. And it was clear that this would be the end. So that being said, we went for it. And I do think it was I'm really proud of season 4.
I would like to say that first of all, I was so excited about this. I mean, as sad as, it was emotional. We discussed this with Michael Cassidy as our guest for the last episode, which was interesting.
Your co-host. At this point, yeah.
But it was
He's going for
interesting
my
that
number.
we were not only was the storyline difficult, but I remember it being emotional for all of us, just our own personal feelings about it.
Yeah.
But then when it did happen, I knew it was like, whoa, what is the writing going to be like for Julie? Because she literally said, I've done all of this, even though it was misguided. I've done all of this for you, Marissa. And if that's really what her core is, this will be really interesting going into this. So I knew that it was going to be amazing opportunity acting wise for this character going into it. And I had fantasies or ideas about what it was going to be. And I was really, really surprised when I got the script that we had pushed into, 5 months later.
Yeah.
And all that. And
Well, that was a conversation too. I mean, we had to deal with the grief. It was a tough kind of, we had 2 things that we needed to do, right? One was we wanted to make the show fun and funny again and bring some humor back to the show. But we had this incredible tragedy that we had to unpack and deal with, and that the audience needed to grieve, the characters needed to grieve. It felt like picking up the show in the immediate aftermath of Marissa's death would have been so overwhelming and so dark and so heavy that we would never have gotten out of it,
Right.
and it would have taken the entire season to get out of it. So if we could pick up 5 months later, not that anyone has remotely moved on, and obviously a lot of the first couple episodes are about everybody in some version of grief, denial, pain that they have not really dealt with. But it would give us just enough space.
We did the first 3 episodes. I remember feeling like crying constantly for 3 episodes.
Yeah, and then we get to the 3rd episode where, which you guys will do,
Yeah.
and that's where Julie can finally kind of let go. That's where Summer can let go, because Summer's dealing with a lot of denial, not just liberating rabbits, and you're not just doing weed whacking and like
Oh my God.
moving built-ins, but like everybody has just not really dealt with this big, heavy thing that has landed on them and is trying to distract themselves from that. Obviously, Ryan just wants to feel as much pain as possible.
You think?
And so he's gotten into cage fighting.
I mean, wait, let me read the synopsis really quick.
Oh, we've
because
already blown past everything?
We just like to, following Marissa's sudden death, Ryan takes a job at a bar and moves out of the Coens while he struggles with his grief. Seth is working at a comic book shop in Newport, and Summer starts her fall semester at Brown. Written by Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage. Directed by Ian Toynton. Original air date was November 2nd, 2006.
Really well directed by Ian Toynton.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
And also, I mean, you made a mention, and I think the ratings for the first season, for the finale of season 3 were 8 something. And this one did drop to like the 3s.
Don't remind him.
Well, but for some reason, this was the lowest one. It went up. Our ratings went up.
Oh, really?
I mean, who knows? That may have been also like where we were in the schedule, what we were up against, what we were on. Yeah.
I mean, but it was just like, there was always wacky things going on at Fox too, like who we were against. Was it
All
Friends,
that.
CSI, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but then our ratings gained. But for some, but this
that may have been a lot of people going, I'm not watching that show after they killed
Yeah.
Marissa. I'm mad.
Yeah.
And, if there's no hope for Ryan and Marissa, if there's no hope for these 4 characters, then what am I watching for?
Mhm.
And then maybe word of mouth brought some people back.
Getting the help you need doesn't have to be a challenge. Talkspace is so convenient and accessible, you can get mental health care with or without insurance to fit your needs. It's important to prioritize your mental health and wellness every day, because when you work on yourself, you'll start to see and feel positive changes in all areas of your life. The long-term effects of therapy can give you the tools to deal with challenges as they arise, strengthen your relationships, and give you a more optimistic outlook on life. There's no better time to invest in yourself more than right now. I am such a huge advocate of therapy, and I know it can be intimidating or people don't know how to get to it or doesn't feel like it's accessible, but Talkspace handles all of that.
getting started is the most important part. There's no need to wait until something goes wrong in your life or work with a therapist. Of course, Talkspace is also there to help with any specific challenges you might be facing. It's the #1 online therapy platform with thousands of licensed therapists trained in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, relationships, and more. Your therapist can help you set and achieve your goals. Even when things are good, it's good to just check in with somebody who's there for an unbiased support and opinion. And that's something that Talkspace can help with. It's something that people should include in their everyday life.
As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/OC. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/OC to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/OC. Start your year off right with non-toxic kitchenware so you can ditch the chemicals and make healthier cooking a piece of cake. With our exclusive discount, you can now save on the full suite of Caraway products, including food storage, tea kettle, and mini cookware. I'm obsessed with the mini cookware. I just keep expanding my collection because I love Caraway so much. I got my eyes on the food storage because that's next.
I just did the same thing.
You did?
Yes, it's in my cart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. I mean, it's because
Game changer.
Well, I've been putting stuff in plastic for so
No,
long.
yeah.
No. Caraway's home non-toxic kitchenwares are all designed for the modern home and feature a chemical-free ceramic coating, so food can be prepared with peace of mind that no hard-to-pronounce compound will leach into your healthy ingredients. And their ceramics naturally slick surface means minimal oil or butter for slide-off-the-pan eggs and easy cleaning. This just describes, like, literally this week. I keep the one bigger Caraway pan, like, literally on my stove. And I just made some, and I was cooking a lot of my fish in the cast iron skillet. But it really, if you don't have the right amount of oil, it sticks. Caraway doesn't do that.
It sure doesn't.
It slides right off. It's awesome. And it cleans up so easily. Oh, my gosh.
Visit carawayhome.com/OC to take advantage of this limited time offer for 10% off your next purchase. The deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/OC or use code OC at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern.
This opening sequence is one of my personal, it might be my favorite music moment, that and Fix You. But I reached out to Tim Good, the editor, and he said that Ian Toynton loved this opening so much that he made Tim play it for him over and over and over and over again. And I thought it was super powerful, and just the structure of it was really fascinating.
Couple things. Ian Toynton, one of the all-time best. And just a really like dignified British man, silver mane of hair, silver beard, the most passionate human being. And he would always come back and say, "He brought a tear to my eye." Or he'd say, "It was magic, magic." And the best was he directed T.I. in the spring break episode of season 2. And just hearing Ian be like, "Oh, T.I. is magic. I love this song." And he just wanted to Bring 'Em Out over and over again.
Oh my God.
The other thing I'll say about this opening is Running Up the Hill, cover by Placebo in this. And Steph May, I think, picked the song out of all the songs that we had on to put it against the opening. But we had Running Up This Hill in the beginning of this episode. Very little acclaim or attention. This year in Stranger Things, they played Kate Bush's Running Up the Hill, #1 song in the country in 2022.
And Placebo still plays it.
Yeah, it's a great cover.
Yeah.
It is a great cover.
And then other shows subsequently have used it as well. But yes, it became the #1 show again. Like
Song,
new
yeah.
CG's all of a sudden like, "Mom, what? This is
Kate
the best
Bush.
song ever." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, it's from my era."
Yeah.
She thinks I'm so cool now.
Yeah.
She's like, "The way you dressed?" I'm like, what? What are you talking about? It's coming around.
It all comes around.
Street cred.
But yeah, it opens on that note, dun dun dun, and we see the back of Ryan in the
Washing
water
his hands.
and like
Yeah.
what's going on.
What-
And
Yeah. What? Because you brought up the cage fighting. Where did that come from? Were you like, I need to make out with a cage fighter?
The cage fighting was not me. And I asked Steph if she remembered where the cage fighting came from.
Yeah.
And she didn't remember. I think it was John Stevens. It may have been Bob. I'm not 100% sure. It was definitely like a comic book, like Wolverine, you know, in the X-Men movies, when you meet him in the first, the Bryan Singer X-Men movies, it's cage fighting. It definitely had like a pulpy superhero kind of, it just, Fight Club, obviously. There was something about it that was so operatic and insane. It's insane. It's insane. And a lot of season 4 is insane.
You're right.
But
And
it's
that's why
kind
we
of in
love
a
it.
good way, in a delicious way. And I remember Brody, who was obviously kind of, if we talked about over it,
Yeah.
he was like, this cage fighting thing is awesome. And because it was Brody, I'm like, is he fucking with me? Is this sarcasm?
No, I can imagine him
he
being
meant
like,
it. He was like, this is what I'm talking about. So
oh my God.
it felt really insane and like, what are we doing? But it also felt like exactly what we should be doing, which is not playing it safe, not doing things that you'd seen before on the show. And Ben is so good.
Yes.
He looks great.
He looked like I think
Fire.
Never been more attracted to Ben.
Me either.
his
I was extremely attracted to Ben during
his
this
hair
episode.
was just
His hair was
sexy.
great.
Perfect.
It was
And
like
he's Ben, just committed.
Was he into it? Like, was he
Yeah,
into
look,
the
I mean,
stuff?
he's into it.
I mean, clearly.
He was into it. He got in that ring and that scene where he's like, I don't want that guy, I want that guy.
Yeah.
And you realize he's in there to just get the
Get-
shit beat out of him,
yes.
not to beat the shit out of someone else.
Yeah.
And
I think he really, I don't know. I think he embraced it
He did.
incredibly.
He did.
And so we see that, and we see him on the phone, and we see Sandy trying to get to him, and he disappears, and then he goes, and then you see Julie taking pills, and then she's so oblivious to this
Caitlin's
like
putting
great
on her
boots,
boots.
baby,
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God,
you're
those
not supposed to be
boots.
driving anymore. It's like I wonder what that was about.
Right.
Just you're giving
why aren't
all
you in
of these.
school? Because it's 8 p.m. on a Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're giving all these little tidbits, and then you end with Julie and Ryan at the Mermaid Inn, and you're supposed to make it the audience go, "What the fuck? What's going on?" And it was just a great opener. And I remember reading the script. I was one of those that had pictured some funeral and having to be prepared for that. And now that I see it, I'm glad that we didn't
I am
go
too.
down that road. But this opener was one of the best cold opens that we've ever had, I think.
Rachel, do you remember reading the script?
Yes.
Never
I
read
read
the
all-
script.
I read all
Did not read the
scripts.
script. Sides on the day. But yes. I think, we made a deliberate choice to obviously lean into the intrigue. And you're like, Ryan and Julie having an affair.
Right.
Like, what's happening?
That's
Come on in.
the assumption.
Yes, let's do it at the Mermaid Inn. I mean, they could have done it anywhere.
So
but
many
it-
tawdry things happen at the Mermaid Inn.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
We
yeah.
haven't seen it for a while. so-
Hopefully the Mermaid Inn has been shut down by the Board of Health.
So we go into you chose Seth having a monologue
Yeah.
and a message for the exposition to
A
fill
very
us all in.
mustard-driven monologue.
Very mustard driven.
Yeah. I love mustard.
You do love mustard.
love
You like
mustard.
hot mustard.
I like the spicy brown. I like the deli. I like the honey
honey.
mustard. Yeah, there's honey mustard. Kirsten's
There
got
is.
the honey
Kirsten has
mustard.
the
That was
honey
a very
mustard.
luxurious.
My
honey
mom,
mustard.
whose name coincidentally is Honey, loves the honey
Right.
mustard. So yeah, there was a big mustard runner.
Really?
Food often would play a big part in the show. Just
Like today, I'm like, he came out because he can go to Armenian Deli and get a
I'm
sandwich.
here because it's close to a sandwich.
Right.
It's raining today in Los Angeles, and
you drove
you
out.
almost didn't come.
This is a rainy day women for sure.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I know.
Yeah.
Literally, I was like, my husband was making fun of me. He was like, "Mindy, you're actually acting like it's the opener of that
Yeah.
episode."
Can't try.
like I
'Cause it's
can't
like-
go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, they have closed roads, and there's
Yeah,
there's
debris.
cars spun out.
There was multiple car accidents on my way here.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
risked a lot to be here today
All for a sandwich.
for the sandwich.
All for the
so
sandwich.
yeah.
Well, okay. So I just
Shout
wanted
out to
to ask
the
you.
Armenian Deli.
That's
Just
right.
shout out to Tarzan
we should.
Armenian Deli.
And there
Yeah.
forever, pepper
Yeah.
turkey. I changed your life. I
You
think.
did. You changed my
Yeah.
order. You added some pepper to my turkey.
I did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I wanted to ask you, just because I think exposition as an actor is one of the more frustrating things sometimes, but in television we need to get that out there to the audience,
Yeah.
and I just think it's a very creative way to do this that shows what Seth is going through, that he's hanging out with noopsies, which is one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
And-
Brody's really funny in
He's
that
really
scene
funny.
with Taryn.
When he's
or-
like
yeah.
laughing,
Yeah.
fake
Yeah.
laughing. Yeah.
Fake laughing.
Do you always try to come up with a creative ways to do exposition? I mean, this was a very unique one, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a challenge when you're whether you're starting a new show or coming back from a passage of time between seasons. You have to figure out a way to catch the audience up where the audience isn't going like, "Who is he? Why is he telling all of this to someone?" When that person have all that information. So the idea that he's able to kind of bring the audience into the show, we're able to do it with some levity. You obviously get that he's isolated and alone and sad, but there's some humor to it. We get Luke's twin brothers
Oh my god.
in the
Great
mix.
addition.
Great. Yeah, they were great with Caitlin, which is a great dynamic. And that he's doing it all to kind of catch Summer up on what's going on. Felt like an organic way to kind of bring both the character and the audience up to speed.
I also felt like he was being, we've come down on Seth because he's so self-involved, but I felt like he was being mature, and this is the way he's dealing with the grief instead of he's almost being helpful and there for his family.
Well, Seth is dealing with multiple levels of
Everyone's gone.
abandonment. Yeah.
Everyone,
He lost Marissa, obviously, like everyone else did, but he lost everyone else, and he's the only one who's kind of stayed.
Yeah,
in that
and
spot.
in it.
Mm-hmm.
So he leaves a message, and then we see Summer at Brown,
which
Incredible.
is immediately
Incredible.
different.
Immediately different, and Chris Pratt
shirt.
just popped. Yeah, less trees, more bush.
Yeah.
Great. From your personal collection, and then
Enter
Che, and Chris Pratt, this like incredible golden bouncing ball, golden retriever, whatever you want to call him, of just like joy and light and fun.
This was an introduction of Chris Pratt to probably a lot of people. I had met him on Everwood,
which is where Patrick Rush, our casting director, had first cast him.
So that was what they did. Do you remember his audition?
Or did he? I don't think he auditioned.
I don't remember if he auditioned. I just know Patrick was like, I have the perfect guy to play Che. When we just, you always talk to your casting director as you're starting to put the season together, say, hey, this is new characters we're going to be having, and what do you got in mind? And he was like, Chris Pratt. Patrick was like, Chris Pratt would be great for this. And so we watched some Everwood tape. Maybe we talked to him a little bit, but then he just showed up and was like so committed, so the guy, and so funny.
Oh my God. I know. I still to this day, like, I don't know that anyone had made me laugh harder on set than Chris.
And by the way, it's what the show needed on screen and off.
Yeah, it balances out, gives it that lightness but without being silly. He's still kind of grounded. It's silly.
I mean, later in the season, he does fall in love with Seth's spirit animal.
That's true.
On a camping trip.
Do you not remember that?
No.
It does happen.
I kept picturing though that Che is almost a self-anointed like nickname, and that his real name is like Bob or Billy or something.
Yeah, no, he's like
because he's wearing the shirt too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's a fraud. But we all know Che. And in that
we all know Che. That was my first introduction to the didgeridoo.
For a lot of people. He committed. He learned how to play the didge.
The didge.
And
didge.
He was just great. And he raised everybody else's game.
Yeah.
I think for everybody else who was like
dragging their feet.
Do I still want to be here? What's it like now? This whole thing that we've gone through as a show, is this the end? Like, he was just happy to be there, happy to be working, and brought like 110% to every scene.
I started that season like that. I have very, very vivid memories of this season, especially these first 3 scenes or episodes, because it was also, I was taking it home with me. Like I kept it with me for like 3 episodes.
No, you have a daughter in real life. I mean, it's,
and driving here, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I need a break after this podcast. It's like, it is very emotional.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
But, okay. So in the meantime, Seth is I did want to mention, we have this brand new set that was super impressive.
Yeah.
Are we ever on location in this episode with the comic book shop and that set, or is it all
it's
on
on
stage?
stage?
It's all on stage.
The whole thing.
Yeah, we built like a whole
town
mall.
And the background looked like, because you shoot a real outdoor shot, an establishing shot of the beach, and then you pop into the set, and it just looked, I was looking in the background, and it was really impressive. I just didn't remember it being that impressive on camera.
Yeah, we had tried a version of it before with the Crab Shack, and it never quite looked real. We didn't have the space on the stage for the backing. You'd have people like walking in the background just to make it look like it was on the road. But this really looked great.
Right.
This looked great.
So we spend a lot of time there for this whole season.
It's the bait shop footprint, I think, became this.
Oh,
the bait shop's not in the 4th season at all?
Don't believe so. I could be wrong. It could be 100% wrong.
You might be right. I have a feeling.
It's a pretty big footprint to build that whole situation.
Yeah, it's large.
But poor Kirsten is trying to get, bringing over a care package and trying to get Ryan to come to dinner. Because, how are Sandy and Kirsten handling this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Seth is working at the comic book store making little girls cry.
Oh, the guy is it from Sandlot, or who's he? What's he from? The kid with the glasses.
You've said this before.
I have?
Wait. His friend Leon? Is it Leon?
Yeah, I think so.
He's
I
been
can picture him in a movie and
no?
he has snot bubbles coming out of his nose. That's not the snot bubbles? Okay, I could be confused. It's something.
He's great, though.
He's great.
He's great.
The whole posse, the whole comic book.
This new year, You've got goals, and Factor is here to help you achieve each and every one of them. Save time and have the energy you need to tackle everything on your to-do list with Factor's ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Get Factor and not only skip the trip to the grocery store, but skip the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat and enjoy. If I'm away, I feel like I've totally left Adam without any, he's going to starve. So Factor has so many things that are so great for everybody. I just love it.
No matter what your lifestyle, Factor has the meals to help you live it to the fullest with keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and protein plus meals on the menu each week. Prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians, each meal has all of the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long. I love Factor. Sometimes I don't have the time to cook, and I have a kid, so I need fast, ready food that can just be popped in the microwave or whatever your heating source is and ready to serve.
Achieve and maintain your goals this year with Factor. Get America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit and start saving time, eating well, and living your best year ever.
Head to factormeals.com/OC60 and use code OC60 to get 60% off your first box. That's code OC60 at factormeals.com/OC60 to get 60% off your first box. So just to go to that a little bit, Seth's leaving these messages and we're seeing Summer erase them and whatever. And then she shows up.
We're jumping. We just skipped.
Well, I know, but I was talking about the comic book guy and just where my brain went.
Okay.
And it was a very important point I need to make.
Okay.
Yes.
Make your point.
The size of my backpack
That's all you own.
that I travel home with.
Yeah.
Really hitting the nail on the head. I am now Greenpeace motivated.
Granola.
Crunchy, everything
Tree
I
hugging,
own,
yep.
I have on my back.
Yep.
And Seth keeps wanting me to get rid of the backpack.
Well, he keeps wanting you to go home, and you don't want to go home.
I don't want to go home.
Right.
You see why.
We see why. Quite literally.
Quite literally.
Okay,
but
sorry, I
in the
didn't mean to
meantime,
jump, guys.
before you do take off to go do that,
You are
Yes.
trying to liberate some chickens.
you were liberating
At SC.
chickens.
We shot that at SC.
Shot that at USC.
Yeah.
And but Taylor calls, who is now a series regular.
Bonjour.
The opening credits were a little weird to see, because it's like
Willa and Taylor.
it's Willa and
Yeah.
Taylor added, and there was no Marissa.
No, Misha, yeah.
But she calls from Paris.
Yes.
But apparently she's actually in the diner
Mhm.
in Newport.
Her French is great. Every time she does another language, she really
She's great.
nails it.
Autumn's awesome.
Yeah.
Autumn commits.
She's-
She's
does
so
commit.
funny.
So funny.
I was like, what is going on? Now I know what's going to happen in season 4, but she's a big mystery in this episode. Like, what is going on? She's supposed to be at the Sorbonne, and
Mhm.
she's not.
Right.
Some intrigue there.
Yes.
Intrigue.
Everybody's got secrets and darkness that they're harboring at the beginning of the season.
Skeletons.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever discuss a romance with Che and Summer? Because I think as an audience member, you're like, who is this guy? And
It's never like that, right? His storyline?
It starts to go there a little bit.
It does?
Yeah.
there's a little something that happens.
Seth
in the
gets
next
jealous
episode.
and yeah.
There's
Yeah.
something that happens?
Well, no, not.
I never like kiss him or anything. Do I?
No.
All
I
right,
don't think it gets
spoiler,
that far.
I don't-
But then
I
he
don't
falls
think
in love with
so.
Seth's spirit animal and it becomes a whole other.
What's his spirit? That's really funny.
They go on like a vision quest.
Just the two of them?
You might be there. I don't know. It's a later
Oh,
episode.
wait.
You might be there.
It's pretty funny.
I look forward to that.
But no, I would imagine that for the audience, it's like I think there was kind of this love-hate thing with this character of Che because it's
Yeah,
like
they
he
certainly
better
didn't know-
not be
yeah,
taking
exactly.
over, but it's a
Exactly.
distraction,
Mhm.
a very realistic distraction for Summer because she's, when she gets this phone call and Seth keeps calling her and she finally says to Che, I think I need to go home because my friends haven't moved on like I have. She's not moved on,
Right.
clearly.
She's running.
Yeah,
She's hiding.
definitely
Up that
running.
hill.
Running up that hill.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So we learned that Ryan didn't go to Marissa's funeral.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm curious what that funeral was. I'm not actually curious because that would be horrible. But he doesn't go, and so
Well,
he
Seth
feels
says,
responsible.
he's not going to come
he
to
feels
dinner.
responsible.
He feels
wouldn't go
responsible.
to-
He was driving the car. He had
He was driving the car.
holding her. She died in his arms. He feels responsible.
That's a lot of trauma to take on.
Yeah, that's why you get into a cage match and let someone beat the living shit out of you
That's
over and over
why-
again.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's really Volchuk, though.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Obviously.
So
Does he come back at all in the fourth
Oh
season?
my God, yes.
so when he goes to do this fight,
Do you know where Ryan is going at the end of episode 1? Do you even know what's happening?
She hands a file that has something to do with Volchuk, but I don't know what's in the file.
Oh boy.
What is in the file?
It's
His
where he
location
is. It's all the
in
details he knows
Mexico.
to go get him
It's
in
his
Mexico.
location. Why are there so many papers that have to say his location?
It's probably
It's like a dossier of everywhere he's been
everywhere
for the
he's
last
been.
5 months.
Oh,
she's been
Julie's
having
been
him
tracking.
tracked.
Yeah.
So of course,
got it.
yeah. So when he says,
Thanks for playing.
when he's cage fighting, he says,
Yeah.
"I want that guy, not the guy he drew."
That's what, what
wants
Josh
to-
said
He
earlier.
wants the bigger
while
guy.
while Seth is looking for him and leaving messages, and Seth happened. Turns out that the cage fighting is right next to the bar, so he's able to, or at least near his car, so he's
Yeah.
able to overhear that kid's going to get his ass beat.
Yeah.
And by the time Seth shows up,
I love that right as Seth walks in, Ben just gets like slammed into the cage right in front
and
of
he's
his face.
smiling because
Yeah.
he deserves
Yeah.
He
that.
feels like he
pain.
deserves that pain. Yeah.
It's very, very powerful. I mean, he wants that. I mean, does he feel responsible? Yes.
Yeah.
Does he feel like he's ruined everyone's life? Yes. I need to stay away. I'm living in a utility closet.
He feels like he brought Trey, he brought Volchuk.
Volchuk.
He's brought nothing but darkness into this world and into this place and wants to
Is-
just
is he
isolate
wrong?
himself. Yeah, he's wrong. That's what the whole comic book intervention at the end of the episode
right.
is about.
So Summer
Oh,
shows
right.
up, and well,
Summer
before we
shows up.
get into all of that,
Yes.
let's just cut down to what Julie's been doing, so we can go back to what.
Julie's just been doing some housework.
That hat.
Everything seems great.
That
with the
hat with
bandana
the,
and the goggles. Julie was masking before it was a thing.
So I remember this day kind of vividly because
Larry, you're doing nothing. The thing is hitting that there's no leaves
No.
even going
My
any-
favorite is when Michael Nouri's in the house and you just see this like bush like shaking.
okay, so there was a
What is she doing to that?
so between the prop department.
Less trees, more bush, but no one told Julie. Yeah.
First of all, that outfit was kind of a lot to get into.
Yeah.
So there's clearly this
great.
comedy going on. But I remember that we had to choreograph with the prop department. They got behind like, how do we do this? Because this, whatever this device was, it was almost like a toy. It wasn't really anything that was real. It was just a little battery powered thing that wouldn't really cut anything. So the prop department had tied a string to the, and it was, we rehearsed the bushes shaking as he would just shake it with a string, and I would pretend to do this whole thing, and we just had so much fun. We were all laughing the whole set, trying to make this thing like look like it was,
Yeah.
having some kind of convulsion or what it was. But
Julie's in some deep denial.
Deep.
deep denial,
Deep
serious
denial.
deep denial.
And
But-
Caitlin is kind of, you still have another daughter who needs supervision.
Well, and she so reminds us of Marissa, but we've learned is she's sassier. She is Julie. She's not Jimmy. She's not that wounded bird. She's
No,
victim.
there's nothing
She's-
victim about
Yeah.
No.
little Coop.
Yeah.
No.
And
no.
when
No
we
Coop.
see her, she's taken on Corey Price and Wayne Dalglish are the actors who play Eric Ward and Eric and what is it, the character's name? The twins? Eric and not Luke, because it's
No, that's the brother.
that's the brother.
The Ward twins.
But
Yep, the Ward twins.
the
is
Ward
What
twins.
they go by.
So she's smoking a joint.
Yeah.
And they're like security's
What did
everywhere.
she call it? What we used to call it? Oh.
Smoking up?
No. You gave me like it
Oh,
was like shitty weed. What was it? She says it.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
us after too much shitty weed.
What does she say? She calls it like shake.
Shake? No, it's not shake.
Oh.
It's but it's something like
We'll
that.
insert it here.
Dirt.
They're just a bunch of rent cops, and the swag you guys gave me is barely pot anyway.
But they oversee Neil with a blonde woman.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's
they
the first
do.
time we see the step monster, Gloria.
And the only is that the only time we see her
Yeah.
from the back?
Yeah.
Was there ever discussion of casting her?
Not that I recall. Not that I recall. It
She
was
was
really a
good.
device for Caitlin to get some boots.
Quite
to
the
explode-
boots they are.
Exploit, her stepdad or
Right.
at the gym.
Right.
Get some boots out of him.
Yeah, I mean, smart girl.
Yeah.
She wants those Balenciennes.
What you know about that?
Julie's trying to pull out built-ins.
Yeah.
and-
That is, you are just this whole episode.
Hello.
Oh my
Julie
god.
Cooper needs her own HGTV show.
Right. Your heinous furniture. And he's like, it was original with the house. I'm sure there's a-
Mahogany.
Mahogany.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a pill for that. Like he's throwing some daggers at her.
Well, it's he's trying to be understanding. He's trying to be
His
patient,
patience is
but-
wearing out.
yeah.
Even though 5 months, like what if Summer had died, Neil? Come on. But yes, so she's doing all these things. But Caitlin, she's still, no matter what, she's still going to protect her mom. And when she confronts
Yeah.
Neil while he's doing this, wearing a flash dance,
I love that he's wearing the
headband,
sweat.
little homage to his flash
sweatband.
dance. Michael Nuri.
That's it. And you see this image of the weights going up and down. It's like a fantastic image.
Well, yeah, with her face in between. Yeah.
In between. And she manipulates and says, she's just a wonderful character, I think. And Willa, I remember working with her and remembering thinking, she's so young. But when I rewatch this, she comes off so mature for a 15-year-old or 16 at this point.
Which is kind of Willa in real life.
Yeah.
Willa was kind of an old soul. Is an old soul.
Yeah.
But she does manipulate him into getting her these $1,500 boots. And then later when Summer's walking
Which,
by.
by the way, that's $1,500 in 2006 money.
Okay.
Right. So that's $2,600 now.
Oh, so you didn't research any of the characters' names, but you did.
I know, but
you did some inflation
I did some
calculus
inflation.
before we started.
That is what my brain does well.
Yeah.
3,000 today in today's dollars.
Exactly.
But as Summer walks by,
I know, and they're being taken out of the window.
I was like, so Neil did buy them.
He did buy. She's wearing them. She's putting them on.
Yeah, she's wearing them.
She's wearing them at the beginning of the show.
What does Summer say? Something about like cows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we should talk a little bit about some of Summer's environmental perspective because, not wrong to be concerned by the environment, but definitely her calculations are a little off.
The 10 years.
In 10 years,
Newport will be underwater.
Those are Che's calculations, I'd like to point out.
15 years later. No, those are yours. Oh, I guess you're right.
No, he says
you're
it
echoing
first.
what Che said. So Che's math is off.
Yes,
But yeah.
come on now.
But she also says, I don't do that anymore. I'm post-ironic. And he says, you mean earnest?
Yeah, that's my favorite. I texted that one to staff. I'm like, we were really good.
Yeah.
That was a good one. We got
You texted that to me too.
I did. That's how I remember what I want to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. So Seth's kind of confronting this whole other version of Summer.
We're so awkward.
Well, you
so
don't
awkward.
even run up to each other and hug. It's just very...
No, it's very distant, and she's got the giant backpack, and she's wearing a shirt about the environment, and just it's not the same,
No.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever dealt with like the high school loved one who goes off to college, and then that's right. Well, and then you see each other again for the first time. And it's
different.
It's different. It's been only a few months, and it's like a lifetime. And they're like almost like a different person.
I am a different person.
Okay.
Summer.
Oh, Summer. Okay. What are we talking about here? Yeah.
it is a huge, huge change from the Summer that we saw to just putting you in straight hair, jeans, and a t-shirt. And also the energy. I just felt like it was the biggest change of any character for me personally, watching visually too, and the energy.
Well, also Ben, who's cage fighting. No, well, he's always fighting throughout the show.
No, I think your character changed.
But he was really he was sort of like all of the qualities of Ryan to the extreme.
Are magnetized.
Yeah.
Magnetized.
Magnified.
Yeah.
And and Summer, it's a complete 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the showering. She won't go home to shower. I'll take a sponge bath
Exactly.
in the comic book bathroom.
In the sink at the bathroom.
But also, so when she goes to see Ryan, she's like, let me do what I do. And she goes to see Ryan. I love Ryan Summer scenes, and we'll get more of them this season.
I think, the Ryan Summer romance.
Yeah, what? Was that ever talked about?
Of course it was talked about.
Really?
Of course we talked about it.
Well, why'd you hold out on me?
Oh, hey.
Just kidding.
20 years later.
20 years later.
It was a reaction to shows that had come before us where they would just take everybody
and everyone was
and repopulate.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're not going to do that. We're going to bring in new people for them. And that had varying levels of success. And looking back on it, you're like, oh, I get why they did that, because you're getting to see all these characters you've invested in heavily now play off each other in different ways. I wish we had done it.
You actually
I sure do. Yeah.
I sure do.
Sure do.
Golly gee.
Yeah. Oh, heck. Why did we do that? Yeah. I feel like G. Willikers, I feel like it would have been fun to see. Luke Summer, Seth, Marissa.
Julie got around.
Marissa, I feel like.
Luke, Luke, Anna.
Luke,
I think would have been a good dynamic.
So many ways to go.
There was a lot of ways to go.
You're going to write
and
the
when
fifth.
And Gossip Girl came after the OC, and we took the lessons of this, and that had more people,
That had more of the core people mixed
Dan
mingling.
was with Serena, but then he was with Blair. There was more kind of doing that sort of stuff.
So you took a lot of things that you learned from the OC and applied it to Gossip Girl, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very good.
So yeah,
Julie definitely got
out.
around.
Yeah.
She had a lot of partners.
Julie definitely played
did.
You played the whole field. Short of Sandy, which was never going to happen.
Except in Chris McCaha.
Yeah, but that's an alternative univers.
Oh, that's the alternative. Okay, I'm looking forward to that
So
episode.
Julie gets with Sandy and Che in that one.
Yeah.
Really? Who am I with?
You're incredible in that episode. You were like,
She's back
Spoiler.
to Holly with Holly.
you're like Noopsy.
Oh, is that the
Summer.
juicy matching
Yeah.
where you like
Yes.
dance
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember
You crushed that one. Yeah. It's good.
That'll be fun.
So, but in this scene where you go to Ryan,
Yes.
and because I know that Julie, Ryan, and Summer are the ones that are really, really having,
Yes.
I mean, everyone's having a hard time, but they're the three that are really-
Mother, best friend, boyfriend.
Oh,
Yeah.
boyfriend,
The
huh?
primary relationships. Yeah.
Right.
and Summer just does. It's so well written, and your performances are so subtle. Like there's what's not being said is more powerful than what's being said, and she's like finally just. When she says something that she says, you think you're protecting them, you're just hurting them. And I think that's where he turns and starts thinking. And then she says, and besides, Seth is filling up my message machine. So come on.
Yeah.
And he makes that decision. But I think you are being earnest in this. And he
Mhm.
takes that seriously and decides to show up at the comic book store. Just come with me.
Mhm.
No explanation. And then we get to the comic book store and it's this,
The comic book intervention.
the
It is a
comic book
comic book
intervention.
Yeah.
Mention.
Have you guys talked to Eric White, who did the Atomic County?
We reached
comics?
out. We have not.
Okay.
We haven't talked to him.
No, we tried. We did. He didn't. We sent him an email, but nothing responded. No response. So,
Okay.
shout out to Eric White.
Awesome.
Right,
He
yeah.
did such great work. He was super into it. Maybe he didn't get the email because I feel like he'd want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
he created a lot of work for a lot of comic book work for the show. That we had our own little runner comic book for a moment of Atomic County, and he just did it was really cool, the work that he did. It really, you believe that Seth could pencil that, but it also felt really
Mhm.
professional at the same time.
Right. What was
And
it like for
elevated.
you rewatching this since you haven't seen it in a while?
The whole episode,
That and the comic book part.
everything worked really. I'm like, oh, this holds up because I have a lot of my own memories and misgivings, what have you, and so then sitting down to actually watch the show is always a very weird transportative experience.
Mhm.
And I thought it was really effective. And I thought just like re-seeing, if I do say so myself, and just like re-seeing some of the kind of iconic scenes from the show, but now in comic book form, and how everybody's kind of letting Ryan know that he's made their life better. I thought it was really moving. That was emotional.
Yeah.
Which becomes a theme through the season, the
Yeah.
rest of the season, about how, because that's what Chris McCaw
Yep.
has about as well.
What would happen if Ryan had
'Cause
never
he's-
come to the OC?
Yeah, because he's still questioning that,
Yes. Yeah.
I think, in so many ways.
What if we do the reboot and Summer and Ryan actually wound up together?
Ben won't do the podcast. You think he's going to do the reboot?
Listen, I'm just pitching it. Okay.
Well, anyway, okay. So there was a moment too where everyone's saying their lines, and finally,
Yeah.
Ryan says, "I can read, Seth.
Yeah, yeah.
Just let me read
Yeah.
it," because it wasn't going to.
Well, we never wanted the show to get too sentimental. We're always trying to have somebody make
Throw
a
a joke in
sarcastic,
there, yeah.
Yeah.
ironic aside. Yeah.
Right. So
Summer might be post-ironic, but the show was not.
So somehow it works. It clicks. He and Sandy, or he drops Sandy.
We're
or
back into the dynamic of Ryan and
Yeah.
Sandy in the car together, and
he
back
gives
to
him
that
one
pilot
little thing
dynamic.
about saying, you might not ever get over it, but you'll get used to it. And he's like,
Yeah.
just one thing at a time.
Yep.
And is the pool room still open? And
Full House. Yeah,
pool house still open?
The pool room.
he's kind of living in the room with the pool.
It's
Right.
really
Table.
interesting, his accommodations.
Doesn't need a lot. He's a simple man.
He is a simple
Yeah.
man
Yeah.
with a Harbor sweatshirt and pictures of
Well,
Marissa.
That was really
But he
seeing
throws
those
it
pictures.
in the trash.
But he keeps the sweatshirt.
When he throws out that box, that is harsh.
Yeah,
I
know,
was
seeing
like,
the pictures
wait.
was really like, oh,
yeah, that hurt.
But the pictures and everything. So he really is at this, so he is trying to escape. And then when we go back to the opener and that gets more explained in more
Mhm.
detail, we see that the phone call was Julie.
Yep.
Meet Me shows up and she says, I've got this file. And even though you didn't come, I know that you care.
I didn't go to the police with this
I didn't go to the police
because I want a
Mhm.
different kind of justice.
because I know you can do this. And Julie's convinced that he'll go after him
Yeah.
and kill him. And when he says, I want nothing to do with this, she's like, what? And because he's resolved, I mean, I think Julie's just like devastated because she's
That's been her plan.
this
Uh-huh.
whole time
Yeah.
to give him this. She's not going to do it, but
Yeah.
you can do this, which is so like
That's pretty fucked up.
pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, so when he doesn't do this, but then he throws these photos out and then he decides that he's going to come home. And that's when he says, the guy says, I hear you're getting out of here, but there's one more fight. The guy wants a rematch, and he decides to go ahead and do that.
But we don't know what he decides. We think he was we don't know what he's going to do in that moment. We think maybe
that's true.
Maybe he's just taking the fight. He's leaving, and then you find out that he went to the fight, and this time he fought back, and he's kind of unleashed.
Here he comes.
Yeah,
It's his Rocky moment of comeback.
Yeah, and he's like he's kind of like found a version of himself. It's still not, I would say, the emotionally healthy version of himself, but he is no longer a victim, and now he's become the aggressor.
Right. Do you think Eye of the Tiger should have played here?
No.
Okay.
But it's interesting
I
because
think it would have undercut the moment a little bit.
right. So, but he was going to go home. So we don't know that he did that because he says, "Okay, I'm going to go home."
Yeah, we think he's going to go home.
He's going to go home, but then we see them he's at the gravesite for the first time,
Yep.
and Julie comes up.
She's
turns
there
out she's there every
every
day,
day.
which is we didn't know that about her, and so when she says, "What changed your mind?" then it's revealed that this
That he
happened,
got in the ring and he kind of unleashed his.
and now he's like, "Because I have to do this. Because I have to do this." He says it quite. I remember that too.
I do too. I do too. Because we were
Isn't
like,
that the end of the episode?
Yeah, I have to do this. But we were trying to find the line of like where that felt, like the shocker to go out on.
It is quite shocking.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, I think we're all to assume that he's going to do what Julie wants him to do.
Yeah.
Which
We
is,
think we're like, oh, Ryan, don't do
Oh,
this.
no.
You're going to
So
make
you're
everything worse.
coming back to the Coens,
I'm so
but
curious
yet you're
what
going to
he's
go
gonna-
after Volchok.
What he's
Yeah.
going to do? Are we going to see what he's going to do?
Yeah, you're going to see in the
Bro,
next episode.
You just are out there just letting it all hang out. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting.
Goes to Mexico.
Because when Julie's sitting, when Kirsten comes to see Julie, and she's like, "It's not a good day," and this phone call, like, what was that phone call?
Oh,
She's
yeah,
like,
who
"Oh,
was
thank
that?
God."
It's Ryan.
No, it was the
It's
investigator telling
we
her.
found her. We found him.
We found
Oh.
Volchok, and now she's like, "It's a great day. I'm fine."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Plans
It's
back
like
on.
that's what's getting her motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only thing you have. Like,
So
And then
she's-
you've got Summer who does go home.
I do. I leave.
And then you see, is that
An
Marissa
image.
in the other room?
Yeah, that was really.
And she's got to get out of there.
Wait, what do I say? I say, give a hoot, don't pollute.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's an actual saying?
Yes,
when I was
that's
growing up,
that's
when
an
I was-
old like 70s
Well,
term, wasn't
80s
it?
for me.
80s.
But yeah, when I was a kid, that would be all the like,
Give a hoot, don't
don't
pollute.
pollute. That was like all of the, it was like Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear.
And then give a hoot, don't pollute. Yeah.
We need to bring that back.
And it was like an owl who would say it.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Heather
want
Mills
him back.
McCartney's going to be
Oh, my
there, and
God.
we need
Yeah.
to see how,
How
she's
about
doing after the
dating us?
divorce.
That was
That
hot
was-
goss in 2000.
It was. I was thinking in my head. I was like, what year? What is.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
the other moment that I was like, when Julie is so pissed off about that Ryan won't go after Volchok, and she's just lost, and Neil admits to this affair, and she goes, "What?"
Yeah.
Do you think she's actually listening, though? And just doesn't want to deal?
I think
wondered.
she did. I actually, my memory is that she hears it and just decides to say, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she does
That's
hear
what-
it.
that was my takeaway.
Yeah.
Low on the list of priorities for Julie at that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
She
Agreed.
doesn't. She
Because as we know, there's a new love interest heading Julie's way soon. Bang. Bullet.
Oh, I've heard of this for the past 3 seasons.
You've heard
don't
of this.
remember this?
You acted alongside him in the
Gary
show.
Grubbs.
But we haven't seen it yet.
No.
I know, but just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it didn't take place 15
In my
years
brain,
ago.
that is exactly what
All
it
right.
means.
All right. Eternal sunshine of Rachel's mind. Yes.
Yeah.
It's true.
Anyway, when you walk into the yacht club with
Oh, we forgot that part.
with,
Dear Daddy.
with dear dad, very affectionate dad, and you look over and you see Taylor.
Townsend.
Not in Paris.
Not in Paris.
Yeah.
She's getting food to go. By the way, if you're hiding it, like, kind of like,
Well, you got to remember, these were the days before Postmates.
sure.
You-
You're right.
You had to kind of, unless you're doing pizza delivery, you had to go and pick up food.
You're right.
And
That's what
mom
life was
shows
like.
up. She's not
Terrible.
in Cabo.
Yeah, how do we live? Yeah. Mom's
Yeah.
on Cabo, Taylor's on Paris, Summer's on Brown. No one's where they're supposed to be.
This is the beginning of a very major storyline in season 4 for Taylor.
Yes.
It's probably one of the most elaborate stories.
Yes.
I think.
And then obviously the
of the whole show.
Taylor-Ryan
Yeah.
relationship
I'm really excited to see that
Yeah.
for the first time.
ever.
I'm just going to say peaches.
Yeah.
What?
Everyone who knows knows.
Well, that's not me. Okay, we're
Well,
gonna.
that's the episode.
That's the
I think.
episode.
Yeah.
We're gonna. Oh. Well, okay. I was gonna tell you.
Yeah.
That I don't know if it fits here.
Oh, these are okay. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
We'll do voicemail.
Okay.
We'll
Well,
do voicemail.
no, you gotta,
No, we'll do
No, you
voicemail.
got to do it. You can't bring it up and not. and
Well,
then-
so when we got here today, I told Katie and Mindy we were talking about like comments and, people commenting on things. And there's something going around now. Actually, did you send me this originally?
I don't know. What is it? Get to the
that
point.
Briar is not Hayden's kid. Briar's actually yours.
Wow. I did not send that
the
to
resemblance is just striking.
Between me and Briar?
Yes.
Yeah, clearly not my kid.
Yeah, there's like someone trolling the internet being like, Hayden is not Briar's father. It's actually Josh Schwartz.
That's hysterical.
You didn't send that to me originally?
No.
Maybe Jill
No.
did.
Yeah.
So,
that would make sense.
I mean, that brings up, do you still put much stock in messages at all?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just in that one.
Just that one. Well, that one I started. I put that out there.
Right.
Let's hear from some fans.
Okay. Here's some fan questions.
Is Briar your child? No, we just cleared this up.
Hi, my name is Michael. This is probably my all-time favorite show, so excited to be leaving a question here. And my question is, at what point in season 4 did you all know that this was coming to an end, and what was the reaction?
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
I mean, I think we went into it assuming this was going to be the end. Like I said, I deluded myself into thinking that the show creatively was good enough that maybe it wouldn't be the end. And then when we premiered, I was like, oh yeah, this is the end. This is the end. Yeah.
Oh, so you knew once the first episode aired?
Yeah.
Just because of ratings?
Yeah. Well, ratings had been driving so much of what we were up to. And so then I knew it was the end. And at a certain point in the season, halfway through, Peter Lorre, who was the head of Fox at the time, called me and said, I'm sorry, but this is going to be the end. And we said, okay, we kind of assumed that. And was grateful that he gave that information to us ahead of time so that we could build to a very satisfying ending that I guess I'll come back and talk about.
Yeah, you will. But I think that was really nice because a lot of the time you don't know it's ending.
Sometimes you don't know.
Give the fans kind of some
Did
closure.
Did it also in the writer's room just give you guys that kind of freedom of we're doing whatever we want? There didn't or
Yes. Yeah, no. It gave us the freedom to go, okay, we're not trying to save the show ratings wise anymore. We can go, balls to the wall. I don't even know, can you say that anymore in 2020?
No
I
idea.
don't know. Okay. Is that a thing you can even say anymore? I don't know. In 2006, you could say, that's what we said. Let's go balls to the wall. But, and that we could end in a way that was satisfying, I remember I was doing the show Chuck after the OC, which you appeared on as Lou, the magical sandwich maker,
Capricola,
for a couple episodes. And every season, we did not know if it was going to be the last season or not. So we were always building to these like crazy cliffhangers that had to be both like a cliffhanger, but also like if that was the end, and we did that for it went 5 seasons, but every season we had no idea what was going to happen.
I've read that the finale of this show is one of the most satisfying episodes of all time.
Although it does have one question that people ask, which we'll talk about when I come
when
back.
we get there. Okay.
Yeah.
You
The last shot of the show.
Okay.
Is a big question for people.
I'm excited.
Hey, Rachel. Hey, Melinda. This is Jamie from Chilliwack, British Columbia. Big fan of the podcast. You're killing it. And it brought ideas. And Rachel, actually, me and my son, Andrew, just started watching Chuck. And I got so excited to see you pop up in
Weird
that.
timing.
I just love seeing you guys in whatever you do. My question is, for what character from the previous 3 seasons didn't come back in season 4 would you have liked to seen what they would have done in that season? Thank you so much for the podcast. Take care.
Well, she says she watches Chuck with her daughter. Funny thing about her daughter.
What?
It's actually my kid.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bring it home.
Yeah.
Bring it full circle.
My child.
She said, are there any characters from previous seasons that didn't show up in season 4?
I mean, Marissa would be the most obvious, right?
Well,
Oh, I think Zach would have been fun, maybe.
Yeah.
Like what happened with the comic book or something.
Zach. I love having Cassidy around.
I don't know.
I agree.
But
Who
no,
would you would want to have brought back and explored more if you could have?
Well, Jimmy
Oh,
seems like,
Jimmy.
yeah.
Jimmy and Luke would have been
Yeah.
Luke.
yeah.
There's so many.
So many. Oliver.
fun.
Oliver and Johnny can just. Oh no, Johnny dies.
There were 3 deaths on the show, right?
Dear Lord.
Season 3 was dark.
Yes.
A lot
Oh
of people-
God.
Yeah.
Well, was there a world
Yeah.
in which
Marissa did die.
Marissa could come back in flashbacks or did you ever play with the idea of her coming back for little strange appearances or something? Not strange, like ghosts or
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's in this
flashbacks.
episode a little bit. There's some stuff in the last episode where we, wanted to use some shots of her from prior in the show. even though she's not in the show is all about her.
Right.
You know,
Right.
her
So
presence
is there.
heavily in the show at that point. Yeah.
Right. And then at some point, the story moves into some other things. So
Yeah. I mean, it took 3 episodes in season 1 to kind of land
Finish
Ryan
it.
at the Cohen house, right? You kind of in the pilot, Ryan you brought in by the end of episode 3, he's a Cohen. Welcome to a life of insecurity and paralyzing self-doubt. And then in season 4, it takes 3 episodes really to kind of resolve this Marissa story, in the sense, not that anyone ever fully moves on, but how everyone is acting. People kind of confront their grief by the end of episode 3.
That's probably like the one thing I actually remember is like on the therapist couch going through the grief stages.
That's really fun. Norman, I think, directed that. And then there's the dinner, and you bring all the homeless people in.
What?
Yeah, she does it. It's called the cold turkey.
Yeah, you bring all the homeless people to the dinner, and then one of them,
ended
Scott
up on
Krinsky,
Chuck.
I don't think you can say homeless anymore.
It's unhoused.
You can, I mean, okay.
Right?
You can say homeless. There's
Okay.
other words attributed to homeless that you can't say anymore.
Okay.
But he became a regular on
So
Chuck,
yeah, he
Wait,
showed
who did?
Scott Krinsky. He's amazing. He's one of the homeless guys, unhoused guys at the dinner.
Yeah.
And then in the penultimate episode of the show, after the earthquake, there's an earthquake coming.
I
Just
remember that
spoiler.
because of pancakes.
Yeah, pancakes. No. Oh
I'm
yeah, because
looking
Becky
for
brought
her.
pancakes back, right?
See, I remember something.
Okay, all right. But that character ends up with the Cohen Range Rover.
What?
He ends up with the Cohen Range Rover.
Oh, okay. So that's something.
And
I
then
don't remember.
he was a series regular on Chuck for 5 years.
Right.
He was Jeff
Oh my gosh.
And you
that's
met
awesome.
him as in
In
the
this-
cold turkey.
in the Cold Turkey and was like, look at that face.
All right.
He's too good.
Right.
He's so funny.
I love
I'm
those stories.
looking forward to seeing that face.
We have
Also, thank you for that question and for all your support. That was really nice. I just
Yeah.
wanted to say.
And for raising my child.
And yes, Josh appreciates it very much.
Well, that is the beginning of season 4. We have I'm really excited for you to see it because
I'm
there's
excited
so
to
much-
see it. See, it's kind of like a nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in 51st Dates or whatever.
50, that's my movie.
Yeah.
I am her.
Yeah. Every day.
Every day.
There are
Start
plenty of
anew.
podcasts out there where people who are on the shows are watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's just so you know, you're not alone.
But it's also that I don't remember anything.
Well,
on
And
top
that
of
you
watching
are
it.
alone.
yeah.
And that you are alone.
Well, I guess that's it. Thanks again for being here, Josh Schwartz.
It's always a pleasure.
Josh Schwartz.
I'll see you
You
for
will
the finale.
See us at the finale.
Yes. Woo! It's been a wild ride.
Oh gosh. Thank you for listening. Follow, rate, and review Welcome to the OC Bitches wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you like to watch us, check it out on YouTube. And you can now listen to bonus features as well as Season 1 and Season 2 of the OC Bitches on Cast Plus. Bye.
Bye, bitches.
Welcome to the OC Bitches is brought to you by Cast Media. Executive produced by Colin Thompson, Harris Lane, produced by Katie Curtwright,
Edited by Parker Flores and our technical engineers, Travis Holden and Dustin Park.